So let's go over what you need to know in InDesign to be able to set up this project. From File, New, Document, I'm going to set this up in inches, and it should be 2 pages, facing pages. If you want, you could go ahead, if you know that you're going to have 2-column layout, you could go ahead and do that, or you could not use the columns and then instead just use the grids as you want. I'll put in 2 though. And the margins, I do want to leave those at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to hit Create. And now the first thing you may notice is this has 1 on the top and 1 down here. And that's not a spread layout. I want it to seem like the pages are side by side. So what I'm going to do is up here I have my Pages panel open. So if you don't see that, go over to your panels here. And if you still don't see it, you can find it under Window. And I'm going to double click where it says A Master. I'm going to double click up here so that my master will actually be right next to my next page. So that's all I'm doing to be able to get them side by side. So versus if I ask for my master to be up here, then I'm going to have the one page, kind of like this would be a book cover starting up here, and then I'd start having them on my spread. Okay, so now they are side by side. I just double click that. Okay, so what do we need? A large image. So let's just briefly talk about how large this image should be. And you can do a Google search to get this image, but if you're doing a Google search, you should look for large images. I'm going to jump over to Photoshop here for a second. And what I've created here in Photoshop is an image that is the same size as your InDesign pages. It's 8.5 inches wide by 11 inches high. And I created it, I'm going to move this, to a resolution of 300. Because that's a standard print size resolution. And now I'm up here in image size, and I've switched my width and my height to pixels. So I'll just switch that back to inches again so you can see this is what my document is, 8.5 by 11, resolution of 300. What is this if I need to find it in pixels? 2550 by 3300. Why do I need to know this number in pixels? Because when you do an image search, go back here for a second. When you do an image search, it shows you the size of the image in pixels. Now, you can make images smaller, but when you make them larger, they start to get pixelated. So, going back over here to this number, this is a number you should probably write down. This would be your large for an image, a very large image that would completely cover your background. Now, you can make images a little bit larger, and they'll still hold true without becoming pixelated, but not much. So 2550 by 3300 would cover an entire 8.5 by 11 inch page. I'll just hit OK. So back to my image search. When I do my image search, scrolling up here to the top, I went under Tools. So I'm working in Safari. Every browser has this option, just in different ways. What I want to look for are the advanced image tools. And I can look for size, and I can put in exactly my size, or I can just put in large, for example, and it's just going to give me images that are large. So I do want it to be vertical for my layout. Maybe you want it to be only horizontal. As I hover over it, I see the pixel size. So this would be kind of a small image on my page. And let's just look for another one. I'll take this one, 2008 by 3008. Okay. So I'm going to click on that. Now this is still the small image, so I need to go click on View Image. And now, if I see the plus sign, that means I'm still not getting the full size on my magnifying lens. Now I have it the full size. So now I'm going to save this image. I'm right-clicking to Save Image As. I'm going to go into my graphic design folder, and it's called Healthy Tree. I'm fine with that. I'll just save that name. Okay. And back over in InDesign, I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'll browse for that image called Healthy Tree. Click on Open. Now we've seen this before, it's the same thing in Illustrator. It's kind of a little thumbnail of that image is following me around. Now what I'd like you to do is first just click. And when I click, it brings the image in at its true size, the size that I saved it as. I'm not making it any larger or smaller. So this is just telling me how large my image is, and I see, if I put it up here, it's a pretty decent size. I would have to just make it a little bit larger to get it to be the full size. So I'm going to undo that. And I did undo instead of delete, so I still actually have it there, that thumbnail attached to my cursor. So this time I'm going to click and drag over so I can get it to fill, and when I let go, it fills it in. Oh, I went a little bit larger than I intended. Let me just do that again. Okay, I can still click on it and adjust it. Once I click and I get the kind of orange lines, then I can actually adjust the size of the image and have it scale it up larger for me. There we go. Okay, so all of the stuff that's outside of the page will not show up once I render this as a PDF. So I want to make sure I'm just lining it right up to the middle of my page here. Okay, so I've put the image in, and now what's the next thing that I need to do? Maybe think about a background color for over here. So I'm going to jump over to the one I've already started. So what I did for this one was I wanted the background color to be something related to what I have over here. So I'm just going to undo that, get rid of that box for a second so I can redo that again. I'm going to take the rectangle tool, and I'm going to make a large rectangle over this space here. And now I'm going to take my eyedropper tool, click on that, and I'm going to use the eyedropper tool to get me one of the colors that's in this image. I want it to be kind of one of the darker colors, so I'm going to click inside of here, and that would give me this image. I think that one ended up being a little bit too dark, so let's try that again. Take my eyedropper, and I'm going to just choose this one because that's the color I already had before, but this color came from inside. Okay, so I make a selection, I take my eyedropper tool, and then I can click inside so I can get one of the colors. So this is how we're going to form our unity. In the pull quote, if we look over here again, there are lots of opportunities for connecting, creating unity in the pull quote. So in this one, for example, it has the quotes themselves are using the same yellow used over here, and they've also used a line here. But in our particular image, I think what would be nice is if this green is the same green that's over in the image. So let's just say, for example, I want my text to have that same green. So I'm going to type in the name, I'll just type in trees. And same thing, I'm going to take the eyedropper and I'm going to pick one of those greens. And now I can get the exact same. I'll make that larger so it's easier to see. Oh, I also misspelled it. Okay, so in this case, this color is probably too dark to be on this background. Maybe I should choose a lighter green, but also a green from here. Oops. Okay, so that is basically what you need to know for putting the image in and choosing some background colors and your highlight colors, your emphasizing colors that are the same colors that came from your image.